welcome to Shift Up, the show where we need to make sure that we produce all of our episodes before Klarna repossesses our equipment.
And before they take it back, too. Well, if you're new to the World Cup, or if you, find yourself wanting a little more information or want to hear some sort of insight, you've come to the right place. We talk all things soccer. Sometimes.
So 3.5 years ago, Argentina was the victor of the 2022 version of this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, what a win from them.
So, with that being said, much has happened since 2022. And I don't know about you, but I want to talk about how I think it's going to go down and what we're looking at with each of these teams.
Yeah, no, I have a few that I jotted down that I think are going to be very telling, very influential to the story of this World Cup.
The first team that I started making notes about was France. And France, I believe, is coming into this tournament with the best overall squad on paper for the third World Cup in a row.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. I was doing some research, prior to doing this, just because maybe I want to seem like I know what I'm talking about. But, I read an article where it said that France is the most richly talented pool in world football. And I couldn't agree more with their presence in the attack, defense, and midfield. It just looks outstanding to me. We could cover the obvious of Kylian Mbappe,
Mm-hmm.
42 goals and 7 assists in 44 matches in all comps at Madrid. I mean, doesn't really that's world class. I mean, even throughout injuries and kind of, a little struggling in a little bit of form recently, still to put up those numbers. I mean, that's only stuff superstars can do.
Literally, I mean, look no further than some of these attackers. I mean, Dembele, Ballon d'Or winner, Olise matching Messi's assist record for the most amount of assists in a season for their club. And of course, Mbappe is coming off of a La Liga Golden Boot win and an incredibly productive past 2 seasons at Madrid. Now, his World Cup record is actually, despite coming second place last edition, Mbappe has never lost a World Cup game that he has played.
This France team looks very, very, very strong. Even defensively, I noted Saliba, Koundé, and Upamecano, Teo Hernandez, just to name a few. And I'm looking forward to it because this team is very, very strong. But I don't think it's going to look quite like the team in 2022. There's no true number 9. There's no Griezmann. There's a lot of things that are different in the squad, and I think that we're going to see a new style of France, and hopefully it's a good new style of France. Even in the midfield, I'm looking forward to seeing Ryan Cherky above everyone else, I guess, just to see how he performs. They have also some veterans, not veterans, but people who've experienced it, like N'Golo Kante. He's experienced it, he's experienced winning it. So he's there obviously in the midfield as well. Chouameni, their midfield is still very, very solid when you look at it. So going to be a very, very interesting, very fun team to watch. And as we said, the most talented.
Yeah, they're going to be tough to beat. Who else do you think is going to be tough to beat?
Hey, well, they in fact lost when they were the best team in the world in 2022 to Argentina. And that's another team I have on my list of just teams to kind of look out for. Messi, Julian Alvarez, Lautaro Martinez, players who have been very consistent the past 2 seasons, especially. Messi with his move, Julian Alvarez and Lautaro Martinez, being those. Lautaro had a great season the last season or 2 seasons ago, and he's still decent, So I'm looking forward to seeing this team in particular. What do you think?
Yeah, one thing that we're seeing is kind of a common thread with, some of the biggest stars from the 2022 World Cup and the 2018 World Cup to a certain extent is that this is essentially the same squad that bested France 3.5 years ago. And, for them, it almost doesn't really matter that much because a lot of these guys are young, so that 4 year gap doesn't affect them as much as it maybe could. But part of me feels like their midfield kind of exceeds expectations. I know these are absolutely just top level world class players for their individual clubs, but I feel like they do just so much better when they're working together with DePaul and McAllister and Enzo Fernandez. Those links, I feel like they they just are so cohesive and work so much better when they're together.
Yeah, I don't want to use the word overperformed, but Enzo had a great World Cup. McAllister had a fantastic World Cup. Julian Alvarez, all very, very, younger players, hadn't made their big moves yet, and they did outstanding. And so that's the one thing that I'm looking forward to is let's see how the maturity and how the experience has settled in for them to now play with this team. Again, a team with veterans. We have Otamendi, we have Messi, DePaul. We have players
Hmm.
who have been there, done that. And then, Emi Martinez, the troll. But we yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what this team has in particular. Um
Yeah, if anybody knows anything about being there and doing that, it's Lionel Messi.
yeah, man.
What's your take on his inclusion for his sixth World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fully deserved. You don't see a player often, like him, and we'll never ever get a player like him. But no, he just, even the way he controlled the game in the last World Cup, um, he, you know, he saw passes we never seen before. There were a couple moments where my jaw was dropped. I'm just hoping that he finishes out good because this is likely his last. Um, but no, I think he fully deserves to be in the squad, and I mean he's still the best player wherever he goes. I mean he hasn't been the worst player wherever he goes, so
Mhm.
I'd count him as he's in really high regard for this team, and he'll definitely make an impact.
So, do you think they have a shot at defending their title even in this new expanded format for the World Cup?
Yes, I really do think so. Along with some of the other teams that I'm sure we have the same list for and are about to mention, they all have a really good shot. And the big thing is going to roll down to tactics at the end of the day. I mean, we have squads like France where it's just stacked. Maybe Argentina isn't stacked in every single area, right? But Argentina still beat France in 2022. I mean, they have the attack and the creativity to score, but they don't have that like, oh, this is that good center back that that
Hmm.
guy. So yeah, I think they have a shot, and they can definitely do it with the right play style in mind because they have done it before with a team that may or may not be as impressive as this one.
I think it is really going to come down to kind of punching above your weight, especially when you're facing teams with amazing creativity in ways that may even surpass Argentina on paper.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we've talked about France with that X factor,
Hmm.
with Mbappe, and Messi has that leadership, that legendary presence, in the midfield and attack for Argentina. But I think it's about time that we shed light on the new guy, the guy that's been the talk of everything. Let's talk about Spain.
So, Spain, as much as I think that France has the best squad on paper, I think this Spain team has the best chance of winning the tournament this year.
And that's not even a crazy take. As you know, Lamine Yamal is their star player right now, one of the best players in the world currently in his position at least. He brings a lot of that, driving at people, that stuff that we love to see from wingers. And they also have another good creator, attacker in Nico Williams. And, we have Ferran Torres who can, score goals up top. Do you think we'll likely see a different kind of Spain than we did in 2022?
Well, I mean, I think they have a golden generation. And, I think that the creativity from Yamal can be the difference in a lot of their games.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of noted more of like, since this is more of direct forward, direct wingers, it's just going to be a lot of winger creation rather than what they're usually like with their midfield creation, tiki taka, whatever you want to call it, like just kind of creating and making something out of nothing in the midfield, right? They're going to be looking to switch the field and looking to drive at people and just creating scoring opportunities for everyone. So I'm excited. As you said, the midfield looks really dangerous, with Rodri, Pedri, Fabian Ruiz, Champions League winner, started that game, he played well. So, yeah, no, looking forward to that for sure.
And don't forget the keeper of the year, maybe not officially yet, but David Raya in the net.
Yeah. He is a force to be reckoned with. And even with me, as an Arsenal fan, he's just that guy. He's the savior. At least for Arsenal, he was. Their defense is gonna definitely be bolstered with him back there, especially with more of like kind of a younger back line. But they do have some experience though. I know Llorente is in the back line. He'll probably be at right back. And then they have Grimaldo, who I rate very, very highly. But yeah, no, I think they'll have a very, very dangerous team. And then they even got people like Mikel Marino, Danny Olmo, people who will get minutes. So excited for this team.
Might there be another national team this year with an exceptional midfield that could perhaps even hold a candle to this Spain midfield?
Yes, yes, there is. And that
I wonder
midfield,
what you're going to say about this one.
yeah,
Should we say it at the same time?
yeah,
I think
let's
three,
three,
two,
two,
one.
one.
Portugal.
All right, yep. We got Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, João Neves. Just that three, I'd cry. Like
Yeah.
João Neves and Vitinha
Having
have
to
been
face them or having them on your squad?
probably both, bro. Because like
Yeah.
if that, like I already won. Like I'm
Yeah.
happy. But no, like I mean, we have Vitinha and João Neves who have played the entire season together, won Champions Leagues back to back together, and then you add the best creator in the Prem, best creator in Europe right now, with Bruno Fernandes, and it's like, okay, like this team is going to be very, very good in the midfield. Even with we have Bernardo Silva as well that can come in. I really rate Bernardo Silva, so yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's just an entire midfield of just gold loot.
Exactly. And then to pair it up, we have a very creative attack. It looks like. I love to see João Felix here, Rafael Leao, and obviously CR7. You know, Cristiano Ronaldo. What do you
Big
think?
C.
Yep. You think he's gonna put in a shift this one?
Well, who am I to
But yeah,
say how Ronaldo should be played, but I think he makes the squad better. I mean,
absolutely.
I think as long as he's played positionally, I mean, he's still got the leadership and the ability to, you know, finish chances and even if you want to underrate his creativity a little bit, I think, kind of keeping him up as that traditional nine, I still think he can benefit Portugal just from the experience alone. It's also his sixth World Cup, by the way,
Yeah. Wow.
for those who don't know.
And with such a creative midfield that we've talked about, I think that only benefits him. To be honest,
It should benefit him.
should
Whether or not
yes.
we'll see it,
Right, because
they
he
did.
has to work well with them at the end of the day.
Yeah, they definitely didn't underperform in 2022, but I think there were so many chances and so many lifelines. They just,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, they just couldn't get over the finish line.
but this is one of the best teams of the tournament and the best Portugal has arguably ever looked. So,
At least
um,
in my lifetime.
well, yeah, and then a lot of Nuno Mensch, best left back in the world currently on the left, and then they have João Cancelo, Ruben Diaz. So they have a really, really good defense. And then to round it out, they have Diogo Costa, goalie. I think they have what it takes, bro.
Yeah, I think when Portugal and Argentina face each other in the quarterfinals, it's going to be the battle of who has the better defender from Benfica.
Yeah, bro. I think the world would just blow up.
Yeah.
Honestly, like once that happens, man, it doesn't matter who wins, the world explodes.
Yeah. You know, the world exploded very recently when Mr. Ancelotti called up the man, the
Yeah.
myth.
Neymar
Yes, sir.
Jr. Yep. I guess we might as well talk about cha 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 cha. Yeah.
Yeah, let's rip off that band-aid.
Brazil. Okay. So I don't know if you remember, but 2022, Brazil was looking pretty good, bro. People were hyping up Brazil. And what did they do? They sold.
Yep.
Now,
You remember where you were that day?
bro, I was at home. I was just crying, man. Like, okay, well, not crying, but it was
On the inside.
exactly, yeah. It was depressing. It was upsetting, but just in one word, I have experience defensively, especially Brazil. We have Allison, Ederson, goalkeeper choices. You move on, Gabriel, Marquinhos, Alexandro, Bremer, all of those defenders, goalkeepers, they've been there, done.
What a back line.
Exceptional experience. And it's like, and they obviously have younger people as well, but that's some of the best defense in the entire tournament in terms of experience, in terms of primes, in terms of a lot of stuff. Like, those are all highly, highly rated defenders.
Yeah, and the attack is a standout too. I mean, we know Endrick has been having a wonderful time in France as of late, and Martinelli's coming off a emphatic league win in the Premier League,
Right.
as well as an unbeaten Champions League campaign, and Rafinha and Vinicius Jr., both talent that speaks for itself.
Incredible. Yep.
And of course, Neymar Jr.'s there, which I know a lot of people have said that Ancelotti kind of bent the knee to media pressure. Personally, I'm just happy to see a good Brazil team.
Yeah.
I think they could do well with or without Neymar, to be honest,
Mhm.
and with or without João Pedro as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Obviously, he had such a good Premier League season. Unfortunately, he was playing for Chelsea, but he did have a good year, and I think that's kind of what people were upset about. But obviously, same as you, I don't need to read too much into it because I didn't get selected, so there's nothing I could do. So, I mean, obviously, Neymar's been a player that I really liked watching growing up, and he's called up. Okay, happy to see him play.
So, do you think it's coming home this year? As they say?
That is the question. I can't say whether or not. I think it's coming home, but they do have a very, very good shot at doing it. Can't lie.
Yeah, I thought they for sure had a top 3 squad in the last World Cup, and this time around, definitely off of names alone, there's definitely some notable absences. There's no Trent, no Palmer, no Maguire.
Yeah,
And
Maguire, man. They really missed out on that one.
yeah, me too.
Foden as well. Foden's not in.
It's kind of difficult to get a read on it, I think, like overall, but I still believe that their midfield and attacking options are really strong.
Yes, I agree. Right now, I have just on my list, obviously, Harry Kane. I believe he's the best striker currently in world football. I don't think that's crazy to say. He is incredible. It doesn't matter that he is at Bayern Munich. It's beautiful. He's so complete and everything you'd want from a striker. So I feel like he's going to have a really, really good World Cup as long as he has the right people around him, which leads to the other people I have listed. I have Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham as two players that stand out, as well as Harry Kane. I think having good wingers as well is definitely, I'm not saying it's going to make all the difference, but as we've seen, a lot of winger creation is what's been the thing these days, right? You have Harry Kane, who's been playing with Elise, as you said before, broke Messi's record. You know, he had a
Hmm.
ton of assists. So we see a lot of wingers that are creating and things like that. And so I think that if he, has a team that's kind of surrounded like that, obviously last World Cup, Rashford and Saka. Saka had a
Hmm.
pretty good World Cup. Rashford had a good World Cup as well. Obviously, not too many goals from them, but those wingers, players like that can definitely feed him goals.
Yeah, for sure. I think there is sort of a tendency to think about how specific team ups are going to play out in these international tournaments, and I think it's best to think less so in in those sort of rigid terms and think of more so, wow, like this is a great midfield that's going to give great options to these attackers.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's the other hand where everyone was chosen for a reason. It's not going to be some like, well, I'm gonna pick favorites. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. All the managers are here to win. All the teams are here to win. And so all the players that were chosen are going to play a specific part in the plan. And I'm excited. I'm really excited for this team, honestly. I did want to note two other teams that I thought can play a pretty decent role in being kind of a standout, and that's Germany and the Netherlands. We have Pavlovic, we have Goretzka. In terms of like the defensive side, attacking wise for the midfield, they have Jamal Musiala and Florian Wirtz and Leroy Sané. Unfortunately, I was really looking forward to see Leonard Carl this World Cup. It's just unfortunate. It happens, but it's just a shame. It only happens every 4 years. So the fact that he was picked and was starting and was playing really, really well is just very unfortunate. But I was kind of noting him down as a really key player for this team. That's what I have for on Germany. And then in terms of the Netherlands, again, really good defensive team. Van Dijk, Van de Ven, Jorel Hato, like they have lots of people that they can rotate in defensively. In terms of midfield, Reinders, De Jong, Gravenberch, and yeah, attacking wise, I mean Memphis, like Robbie, they have a lot of options. So this was a team that went far in the last World Cup, and I expect them to make it out of their group and get some things done.
I do think it's important that we take a moment to acknowledge some of the newcomers to this tournament because
Okay.
the format's been expanded to include 48 teams, which in a lot of ways is pretty odd, especially since they didn't increase the squad limits, even though they're playing more games
Right.
in the tournament. In this edition, where there are 48 teams in the World Cup, only 4 teams have never participated in this tournament before. The first of which is Cape Verde, which is in Group H with Spain, and they qualified by topping their qualifying group in AFCON.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's Curacao in Group E with Germany, and they qualified with a crucial win over Jamaica in their CONCACAF qualifying group, which was a bit heartbreaking.
Still stings, man.
It still stings,
Waking up with that cold sweat, can't do it.
but, they're here. And I think, small island representation, if they're here, we're here. So I'm glad to see them here in the tournament, even if they don't go very far. And Jordan is in Group J with Argentina. They placed second in their group over Korea, and that is how they qualified for this tournament. And lastly is Uzbekistan, which is in Group K with Portugal, and they are the first Central Asian team to qualify for the World Cup, and they've received a lot of investment from their government over the years, which really allowed them to be propelled into this spot that they're at now. And they're a young team with a lot of potential.
Yeah, that's remarkable. Give him a round of applause. You know, definitely see. Looking forward to seeing how these teams are gonna play out. I don't, for me at least, I don't see any team that I think is going to like, oh, nobody expected this team to do this, right? I do have some teams that I think aren't really going to perform up to the level that they have, but I wouldn't say there's no, or sorry, there is any dark horse for me in particular.
Much has been said about the circumstances and sort of the dark clouds shrouding the formation of this tournament and how everything's kind of come to be and how it's finally entered into this kind of, final form. And part of it makes me really sad that, for the World Cup to be coming here and things being not only like prohibitively expensive, but just prohibitive in general, especially for people of certain nations who want to come over here and watch their team. I mean,
Right.
I wish this I wish our country could be more welcoming and be in a better place than it is for for this tournament. But I think one thing that I will say is that we, just as people watching, just enjoy the game. Like football, soccer, it's more than just tactics and players. It's also about heart. So I mean, just watch from the safety of your home and your television screen, and cheer when your country scores, but don't place the burden on the players, to bring the world back together. Just try to enjoy the game, even though things are terrible. Like, don't let that be taken away from you.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I agree with you in that there's a lot of people who are focused on it's not that a lot of people are cuz I can't speak for everyone, so forgive me for that. It's more of that it's very easy to get roped into viewing the game and viewing this event the wrong way, even if you're not from the US, especially if you're not from the US. But yeah, definitely what you said, enjoy the game. And it's supposed to be exciting and very special. And it means a lot to certain people, especially given the fact that there are some people who are performing in this World Cup that aren't going to be in the next one. And so there's a lot of history behind this tournament and behind the game. And that's what needs to be appreciated. I think it'll all kind of shape up in the end. But if something does happen, then that's just obviously that's out of our hands. But it would be very, very disheartening to the entire football community if something were to happen.
Definitely don't ignore what's going on. Talk about it, but don't let that ruin your enjoyment of the game. Because at least for now, we still have the freedom to play and the freedom to watch. And I think we're going to see some great gameplay, some great football. Hey, you're probably looking at our end screen right now. The best way to support us is to like and share the video,
All the support means a lot. Feel free to join the Discord if you want to engage in more conversation
or follow us on Instagram.
or TikTok.
That's true. We do have a TikTok.
Yeah, we'll link it all in the bio. It's all in the Discord. Join up, and we'd love to talk to you guys.
See you in another week.